Today I have a message and some advice and tips for rising freshmen in particular. So if you have a son or daughter who is a rising freshman, today might be a great episode for you to tune into. Hello everybody, I'm Phil Black, founder of PrepWell Academy, an online mentoring program where I help rising freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors make smart decisions about high school, about college, about majors, about careers, and about life. Now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is exactly what I send out, coach, and teach my rising freshmen. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback from this, from the ground floor. So here are a couple things to keep in mind. But before I jump in, a little bit of my background. I'm a former Navy SEAL, Goldman Sachs investment banker, went to Yale and Harvard Business School. I'm a firefighter, was on Shark Tank, been an entrepreneur, sold my business. I'm a husband and father. I've got 4 kids going through this process. 2 of them are rising freshmen. And if you've watched any of these episodes before, you know that I've had this talk with them. So it's a little bit different from last time. So I want to put out, there's 3 things that I want them to focus on as a rising freshman before they step foot in high school. Now, this is assuming that they haven't started yet. I know some kids may be already back in some different schools, and assuming that they're going to a new school for high school. Some kids are 6th all the way through 12th, some are K through 12, whatever it might be, but this is really for kids who are starting in a new school with a new beginning. Which leads me to advice tip number 1. You have a clean slate going into high school. It really doesn't matter what you did in 8th grade or 7th grade or 6th grade or middle school. Now, to some degree it does. If you were a great student and a great athlete and had a great identity and you were moving and grooving, awesome. That's great news. You can bring that identity and bring that hard, strong work ethic with you to high school, and I recommend doing that. But past performance is no guarantee of future performance. So you got to make sure that you buck up. High school is a different animal. So if you were doing well, make sure you continue to do well, but understand that it's a clean slate and you're starting from scratch, which has some good and some bad. Now, if you didn't have the most stellar middle school career, guess what? It's also a clean slate. So you can start over. You can create a new identity. You can be a hard worker. You cannot be the class clown. You can be focused on academics. You can be a good friend. You can be tolerant. You can be all these things because you're starting over. Now, yes, you'll have friends that you're dragging along with you to high school, but you're going to be in a new environment. Everyone's going to be in play. And your job is to decide beforehand what type of person you're going to be. And you have a clean slate. If you didn't have a great GPA, if you didn't do that well, you're starting from 0.00 in most cases, maybe with a few exceptions. You're starting over. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is be a leader. You're starting over. There are going to be some shenanigans that you're probably going to be faced with your freshman year. And you probably know what those shenanigans are. Be a leader. Be the one to stand up for what you believe in. Don't be the one that follows and giggles and goes along just because everybody else is doing it. You got to stand strong. You got to be a leader. And part of being a leader is making decisions about where you stand on certain topics, certain values, before you go to school. Before you step in the arena. I'm talking about having a decision made about drugs, about alcohol, about sex, about social media, before you step into high school. It's not a good idea to start thinking about where you stand on these things while you're in your friend's basement and they're passing around a joint. That's not the time to decide where you stand. That's not being a leader. That's being an amorphous mess. You don't want to be that. You want to be a leader. So think about where you stand. Talk to your parents, talk to your friends. Make the decision before going in. It makes it a whole lot easier. You don't have to spend time and energy going back and forth, bad cop, good cop. Who do I listen to? The time to make those decisions are not in the heat of the moment. The time to make those decisions are right now. And you go in there with guns blazing, and when you know where you stand, you say it, you stand firm, you say it again, you say it again, you say it again until they believe it, and you're good to go. And lastly, tip number 3 is to do a recon of your school before you go there. What do I mean by that? Well, I don't know about you, but I have a recurring dream of not being able to find my classroom, or being late, or going down the wrong hallway, or forgetting what my schedule is. To this day, I have that dream, that nightmare, every once in a while. So what I'd like you to do for your son or daughter is take them to their high school. This is assuming they're relatively unfamiliar with the school. Now, if they've been going there K through 12, they're probably going to know their way around. But even if they've been there a few times, I want you to take them to the school, get a map of the school, walk around the grounds for half an hour, note where all the different classrooms are, where block 200 classes are, where block 300 classes, where the cafeteria is, where the locker room is. So do a little pre-study up front, and then give them a test. Say, okay, I'm going to give you a little mock schedule. You have English in 201, then you're going to have science in 307, then you're going to have lunch, then you're going to have gym, then you're going to have history in room 107 in the annex, and give them a couple little sample classes and a schedule, and have them go. 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes, ready, go. They go to 5 minutes, they get to 201, they get to 605, they get to 103, and do that a few times so that on that first day when they show up and they get their schedule, they've been there before multiple times. Now, hopefully they'll have an orientation and they'll have a little time to walk around, but to raise the confidence, do that ahead of time so that they are so clear where these rooms are, where the buildings are, even where the nurse's office, the cafeteria, the principal's office. So when they get called to the principal's office, they know where to go. So those are my 3 tips. Tip number 1 is it's a clean slate. Tip number 2 is be a leader. Make decisions about where you stand beforehand. And tip number 3, do a little recon ahead of time, a little advanced party work, so that you know where all those classrooms are. And that first day, you're not going to get jammed up by being lost or not know where you're going and lose confidence. You're going to be directing people around because you know what's up. If this has been helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Please let me know that you're watching and that you care that I'm putting out this information. I told you I'd come to you every single day over the summer with a tip, with a little helpful prompt, something for your son or daughter. This one have to be pretty specific about rising freshmen, but give me an idea of what you'd like me to cover for you. If you know somebody who has a rising freshman coming up and you think this tip might be helpful, share this with them, tag them in this message, and give me a suggestion about what you'd like in the coming weeks and the coming months, and I'll come at you with it. Join us at PrepWellAcademy.com. We plan to open enrollment for PrepWellAcademy.com starting in September. So please keep in touch and come back to us for our everyday daily download. Thanks for joining. See you soon.